Peace, peace, Matu. What's up, y'all? Yours truly, D Prime 215 here. If you're watching this and you enjoy it, make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe to yours truly. I'd appreciate that more so for you because if you like what you see, you'll see more content like this in the very near future. So it only serves you to do so if you do indeed like the content that you see. So with that in mind, here's what we're talking about for this video, as the title suggests, right? Westside Gunn versus WWE, pretty much him being kicked out of Monday Night Raw, how I feel about it, implications, why I think it happened, so on and so forth, right? So another mini elephant in the room, if you will. I realize it's been a few weeks since this happened. I remember when it happened and I had my phone going off. I had friends calling me, texting me, DMing me on Instagram and everything like, yo, like, your man Westside Gunn, I know you're a huge Westside Gunn fan, Fourth Rope fan. You know, you could tell from what I'm wearing, I know it's better than Three Ropes, right? So they were like, yo, how you feel about that? So I hit all of them back like in those moments. And I told them, I was like, yo, listen, when the time permits, I will shoot a video on this to get my thoughts out, everything kind of all in one place. And evidently the time is permitting, hence why I'm shooting this video now. And also to kind of go further with that, I just had a photo shoot today with my great friend, James the Flame, Philly, me and this John all day, every day. And I told him, I was like, listen, man, I got the time today. I'm shooting video today. I'm going to put it out and I'm going to holler at you about it. He was like, word? I said, word. Listen, my word is my word. And we get mean and we I'm saying, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's my guy right there. So here we are, right? Westside Gunn, he went to Monday Night Raw in his hometown of Buffalo, and the show starts at 8 o'clock. By 8:03, he was removed. From the video that he shot of him being removed, he did ask why he was removed. He said, like, I'm being kicked out for no reason. So apparently he was not provided a reason as to why he was removed. The only reason I saw that came out, and I don't buy it for a second because it's faker than the $3 bill to me, because of the reasoning. I'm not trying to I don't want to take it any further than that. But it came out, if I'm not mistaken, it was Wrestling Observer Newsletter, for what it's worth. If that's the incorrect source, pardon me on that. But they said it was because Westside Gunn, when he went to SummerSlam, he was falling asleep. He was saying he didn't have a great experience, and that's why they kicked him out of Monday Night Raw months later, which to me, the math ain't mathin'. So I'm just like, I ain't really buying that. I think he got kicked out because they wanted to make an example out of Westside Gunn, right? Because you have to understand something. Like, if you just look at the news, right? Westside Gunn does not have a reputation for being belligerent in public, having multiple DUIs, being a menace to society, or anything of the sort, right? And given that Westside Gunn is a very, very, he's a super fan, and he has a lot of money for it, right? Because the seat he got kicked out of cost $5,000. He spent $50,000 on suites at the upcoming WrestleMania. So he's paying for these front row seats. These front row seats, especially in the TKO era, are probably reminiscent of the money inside of the Money in the Bank briefcase, right? Like, I don't know if there's any money in that John, but if there's money in that John, it probably looked like what Westside Gunn was spending on these front row seats, especially for WWE, right? So, and I think about furthering the point of him not being belligerent in public, not having that reputation. Why would he do something like that? Why would he start at Monday Night Raw? Like, Wes doesn't go to wrestling shows and hold up, signs with derogatory phrases and stuff like that to a certain groups of people and whatnot. He doesn't do that. So it's I feel like they kicked him out to make an example because, Westside Gunn became very prominent in their eyes, right? So I'm not gonna, for those who don't know, very, very high level Spark Notes version, because Google does exist. You could just type in who is Westside Gunn and you'll get all the information you need. But to make this very brief, Westside Gunn is a hip hop artist out of Buffalo, New York. Very, very prominent super fan. He also has his own wrestling company called Fourth Rope. And a lot of wrestlers who have appeared on Fourth Rope have appeared and may be currently appearing for WWE. So in other companies as well, like TNA. So people like Joe Hendry, people like the Hardy Boys, Mike Santana, Jordan Grace, Moose, so a lot of people have appeared in his company. and he also has he worked on a song with Smoke Dizza. Did Cartoon Beats produce that? Pardon me if I have the producer's name incorrect, but he made a theme music for the Hurt Syndicate, who were formerly in WWE known as the Hurt Business. But he made, you know, well, he was part of it because it's not just him; it's him, Smoke Dizza, and MVP, all, you know, rapping on the song. But he, you know, he's on that record. It's very catchy. We hurt people. We hurt people. Like, you know, me and my friends, we be keying to that joint for real, right? So. And I will say this though briefly. I think MVP's verse on the Hurt Business remix, the one where it's Westside, Smoke Dizza, Wale, and MVP's had an extra verse on that. I don't think enough people talk about how hard that verse is. Like he was going off on that. Again, Google's your friend. Type that in, and yeah, I had to give that brief aside in there as well. So pardon me if I'm, you know, throwing some anecdotes here and there because this is just what I do, right? And I say all that to say, you know, Westside Gunn, you know, being a huge pro wrestling fan and hip hop artist, he likened his inclusion of pro wrestling in his art to that of Wu-Tang Clan's inclusion of martial arts in their art. So Wu-Tang Clan and the 36 Chambers, there's so many martial arts references and samples throughout the music. West does the same with pro wrestling, a lot of it being WWE or WWF at the time, right? So in the past, Westside Gunn did have some issues around like 2022. I made a video about like the Greg Hamilton situation. I'll link that in the description. But high level view, a number of his songs got hit with copyright claims from WWE. It's not clear if they were like personal, because I know sometimes, like, you know, it could be like just a department and they're just flagging things, and sometimes they may use AI. So, you know, however it worked out, that situation happened in the past. But I think Westside Gunn's prominence has grown significantly in general, especially within pro wrestling at large. If you don't know who he is, and I'm not trying to be crass when I say this, but you're probably a casual person who typically has to be kind of spoon-fed as to who people are. That's why you probably don't know who he is, right? But, you know, a lot of his merch features wrestlers who worked for WWE at one point or another, and his album covers feature, you know, a number of wrestlers of the same ilk as well. And also in Times Square, I don't even know if it's there right now. I did get my photo in front of it before, you know, they take it down. But he did a billboard of Ted DiBiase and Virgil for his Heels Have Eyes album series. And, you know, I'm wearing a shirt of that right now as well. And the thing that makes it really kind of unique and like kind of weird and interesting, I will say, like, I'll get on this briefly, but I'm not really well versed in copyright, so I'm not going to go into like the nuance of that because I don't know enough about it to speak on that. So I'll leave that, you know, where that is. But I will say, you know, Wes apparently has a great relationship with a lot of pro wrestlers. And I say that because Ted DiBiase himself, he loved it, right? And also I look at like this other Fourth Row piece I have a couple of them. He had shirts with Sting's face on it. And Sting, they seem to have a rapport with each other. Same thing with Hangman Adam Page, because they just come to mind as well, right? So, you know, it's kind of interesting how the wrestlers themselves, in most cases that I've seen, I haven't seen everyone, but they seem to really like and enjoy, you know, the homage Westside Gunn pays to them and like putting them on t-shirts and billboards and what have you. But I think in doing that, like that kind of, it got to a point where it can't kind of go under the radar, and now like certain people in WWE are coming after Westside Gunn, right? So it's just pretty unfortunate. But that's what I think it was. I think they caught wind of who he was. Oh, that's that guy. I don't want him here. Remove him. That's why I think it happened. And so what does this mean for TNA and everything? Because I'll get into this as well, right? So I went to two Heels Have Eyes events. I went to the first one ever in Philly. Of course, you know, Philly. Of course, we're the origin of a lot of Jones when you really think about it. So I was happy that the first one was in my hometown during WrestleMania 40 week. That was just like a hip hop show with wrestlers who were around, right? And then from that point on, it launched into a full-blown wrestling promotion. Then I went to Heels Have Eyes 9 recently in Jersey at Six Flags. Had a great time there, and I really loved it because I've been to a lot of wrestling shows. Heels Have Eyes, everyone I saw there showed up. They looked great. Like, the clothes were great. People didn't look like they rolled out of bed. People weren't looking like school shooters. People, they cared about their hygiene, the way they looked. And I remember I tweeted that, and I think, Smoke Dizza got a kick out of it because he followed me and retweeted that. Because, I've been to a lot of wrestling shows and conventions, and a lot of these people look like derelicts, to be blunt with you, man. I go in there, I'm like, why did I get this fly for this? I was actually at 2 AEW shows in Philly, and I have my friends calling me and texting me like, yo, I saw you on TV. Yo, was that you with the hangman? Like, yeah, like, because they showed me the photo. I'm like, yeah, of course I'm the flyest ball in the joint, right? So, I'm going to talk my stuff when I can because it's my video and I feel like it, right? But, I say all that to say, Westside has a great relationship with like TNA, House of Glory, and stuff like that. And I saw officials from those companies at those shows, at Heels Have Eyes 9 especially, right? And, TNA has a great relationship with WWE, so it kind of makes me wonder how this even escalated to this level, right? And why this even had to happen the way it did. But again, I just feel like they want to make an example out of him. And, it's also like a bit disheartening because, like, Westside Gunn is one of 3 reasons why I got back into pro wrestling in 2016. So for those who, it's not like I say this publicly too much, but like, I've been a fan of wrestling in 2 stints. One was 04 to 2010, 2011, and then from 2016 to present. Around like late 2015, amazing MC in his own right out of Brooklyn, my guy, Sky Zoo, he did a song with Westside Gunn called Rolex. And I remember he kept talking about Westside Gunn this, Westside Gunn that. I'm like, all right, man, like, you keep saying this dude's name. He better be nice. You know what I'm saying? Like, not that I doubted it, but I'm just like, yo, like, Sky's like really, like, he really has a lot of camaraderie for the guy. And I remember he put him on the song Luxury and everything, but I remember listening to it. I was like, yo, I like this. And then, from there, I started listening to Westside Gunn's other music. And he had a couple songs. We had one song in particular with his brother Conway the Machine, called Hall and Nash. And it's just something about it. Like, it reminded me of like Ghostface or Raekwon. You know what I mean? It's just that's the vibe it gave me being a hip hop head and that being my culture and the way they went about it. But the song wasn't so super duper wrestling based. It was different, and I really liked that. So, Westside Gunn and Conway being 2 of those 3 reasons get me back into pro wrestling. And now, so this is like late 2015. Here we are, top of 2016. My favorite wrestler ever, AJ Styles, signs with WWE. So all 3 of those things happened around the same time. So Wes is one of the 3 major reasons of why I got back into pro wrestling. And not even so much as that, like, there's 2 other people who made videos on this topic as well, who I really admired how they put those videos together. They don't know me, they don't know I exist, I never met them. It doesn't matter, but just because, like, the way I'm built, if I like something, I show love. That's the type of person I am, right? So Wayno and Open Mike Eagle had 2 of the greatest videos on this that I've seen. And I want to talk about Wayno's video in particular real quick because Wayno said something in there where he was talking about, like, Westside Gunn is helping bridge the gap between pro wrestling and like the street side of hip hop. To me, I look at it like, and I agree with that, but it's kind of like the non-casual hip hop fans who don't really know about or even care about pro wrestling. But Westside Gunn's music is so hard, and they love the merch. Now they want to at least see what Fourth Rope is about, even if they don't really understand it. They might not be wrestling fans, but they care about the merch because it looks nice, it looks fly, it's premium, it costs a decent amount, and they want to rock with it. And I say that because I have a lot of my friends who are heavy hip hop heads. They love Westside Gunn, they love Conway and artists of that ilk. And they don't know about pro wrestling. They don't know anything about New Japan or, if Hiroshi Tanahashi walked in the room, they wouldn't know who he is, right? But they want to know about wrestling, or at least try to watch it every now and then because of Westside Gunn. And by extension, the GXFR and the Smoke Dizza and all that. But I see those gaps being bridged. And it's a really beautiful thing. So it's just unfortunate how all this happened. And I know also I just want to give a brief aside on this, not a lot of time, but I remember like when this happened, I was talking with my friends about this. I said, look, it's only going to be a matter of time before you get people who don't know who Westside Gunn is talking about Westside Gunn and downplaying him and like, who's this, who's that? It's like you could have typed who is Westside Gunn into Google and got your answer. But of course, some of that, those videos exist. I don't want to name any names, but that stuff is out there, and it's just I don't really get upset at it. I'm just like it's expected because people love to give hot takes on things they don't know about, and that type of stuff happens. But all in all, man, I say all that to say this: like, it's the situation, the way it happened is unfortunate. I don't think they should have went about it the way that they did, but they really wanted to make an example and be petty towards him. As for who did it, we don't know for certain. It hasn't been made public. Fingers point at someone who is very fond of sledgehammers. That's who they're saying did it. Put two and two together, but again, we don't know, man. We don't know. I feel like the guy from Chicago doing the shrug like that. In any case, it's unfortunate, but we're gonna keep it pushing, man. I say we because I'm a Fourth Rope fan. I love what Westside Gunn does, the Smoke Dizza and all them, and just how that whole thing is coming together. And I really feel like Fourth Rope is like, for someone like me who is a real hip hop head. I don't mean real hip hop like real hip hop. I mean like real hip hop like I'm the actual hip hop head of this. I'm really like it's my culture like. To see those worlds come together in a way where it's very authentic and one that I can relate and identify with, it's a really beautiful thing. And I say that because I feel like, I wasn't at it, but I think it was like the first Fourth Rope wrestling show they did. It was in Chicago. Westside Gunn had DJ Premier and Pete Rock DJing. Now, for your average wrestling fan, they don't understand that. They don't know what that is, right? Even your average hip hop fan might not know. But listen, that's major. To have them at a show together, DJing, going head to head, playing beats, and then to have it at a wrestling show, that's a whole other universe right there. So I saw that, I was like, yo, like I'm all in. You know what I'm saying? Next All In, me versus Max Caster. If you know, you know. But yeah, man. So ultimately, like, I'm going to keep supporting Fourth Rope, and I think like everyone should support who it is they like, the people, the companies you like. Support it, man. I think like if you're a hip hop head and you really like pro wrestling, or you're a hip hop head, a quote unquote real hip hop head as well, you should be supporting Fourth Rope. That's my opinion. You can make your decision because we're all adults here. Well, that's all I talk to. And keep it cool, man. And all the best to the whole West Side situation. I hope that at some point West and WWE can reach some sort of resolution. I'm not going to hold my breath on that happening anytime soon, just based off of the current situation. Like a lot of some of the covers had to get changed, like Heels Have Eyes. Like now it's Josh Bishop on the cover with the crimson mask, and you have Jeff Hardy. He's the new Still Praying cover art, replacing Sid Vicious. Cover art, it's just tricky, man, because I think about it, it's like the takedown notices, it's like, all right, well, it's like, who owns the photo? Is it WWE? Is it the photographer? Is it the estate? Is it fair use? Who knows, man? Well, I mean, if someone knows, I don't know. I'm not getting into that because I said that's not my area of expertise, so I'll let that go. But yeah, hopefully, this stuff works out. If not, in any case, 4 ropes. What's better than 3 ropes? 4. And, we're going to keep rocking out. All the best to everybody. And, yeah, that's it, man. So any comments, questions, anything, how y'all feel, let me know what you think in the comments. I know this video is a bit longer. That's why I have video chapters to kind of help you throughout the video. And like I said, my man, James LaFlame, I told you I'm doing a video on this. Here's the video. And, these photos come out, man, because, we killed today in the photo shoot. Wait till you see. I mean, you see what I have on now. You see, you know what I'm saying? Do I look like I need to shape up? If you know where I came from, you know where I came from, right? Yeah, man, that's enough of me talking. As always, if you watch this whole video or any portion of the video, I appreciate it. Make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe to yours truly if you enjoyed it. Lastly, as I say all the time, support what you claim to love. Be good out there, and don't trip. Be cool about it. You know what I'm saying? But support what you love. Be good. Do good. And you know what I'm saying? We be straight out here, man. All right. Till next time. Peace.